No hiss, no static, just pure magic. It's Wheeler's Vinyl Review. Today we're going to do something a little special. Instead of reviewing one album, we're going to review 4 of them because they're more or less a little collection, although you'll have to buy them separately. And I'm talking about the release, or re-release rather, of the 4 first solo outings of Mr. Ringo Starr, also known as Richard Starkey the Taxman, who's still going strong in his mid-80s and was out there doing some promo when these albums dropped. So you have 2 albums that came out in 1970, one in March and September of that year. So the first one was Sentimental Journey, the second one was Beaucoup of Blues, then there's the 1973 Ringo, and finally 1974 Goodnight Vienna. So to give you an example of what we're looking at, they're all in limited edition color pressings, although you can find them in black as well. You've got Sentimental Journey that came out in buttermilk yellow, Beaucoup of Blues in a baby blue color, Ringo came out in molten lava color vinyl, and finally Goodnight Vienna is on a psychedelic wave color vinyl scheme. Of course, the minute you hear the word colored vinyl, you can be a little weary. In this case, you don't have to worry. These were very well pressed and they sound really good. And of course, many of you can wonder, well, why do I want to hear anything by Ringo? He's the Beatles not a lot of people know really well. Well, these albums, the early 70s, had a rather lasting cultural impact because they show you he's a guy who actually had a very good creative streak for a few years. It's a nice way for you to catch up. These albums are not too expensive and they're all available on Ringo's official website. If not the colored versions, at least the black ones should still be available. The source material info has not been provided. There's a good chance though that it comes from a digital source, but then again, most recordings nowadays pressed on vinyl are from a digital source. There are songs here that have been remastered, but they all sound really good. But then again, for those of you who like techie information, there's not a lot of being shared here. A little packaging faux pas though is that they come in plain white rounded paper sleeves, which for those of you who do take care of their collections might be a little bit of a turnoff. They do tend to leave specks and flecks. These ones shouldn't do that too much. I mean, it is a good quality paper, but some people out there know that there's always a chance. So you might want to check your local record store to see if they have plastic sleeves that you can put them in and thus put those paper inners into the recycling bin where they belong. So you have here a lot of covers, especially on A Sentimental Journey. So those are 12 covers that he does of the American Soundbook, which was really close and dear to his heart. And it does sound kind of like the stuff he was doing towards the end of the Beatles. There's really that kind of attention to detail that George Martin gave the boys from Liverpool. He actually has George Martin here with his orchestra in one of the takes on Night and Day from Cole Porter. Beaucoup of Blues is also an interesting album because it's a 12-song collection of songs from his passion for country and folk. So it does sound kind of interesting. It's actually better recorded, I think, to my ear than Sentimental Journey. Sentimental Journey sounds good, but it's a little too sentimental and syrupy. By the time Ringo, the self-titled album in 73, comes along, he's had a few non-album hits. So he teams up with producer Richard Perry, who did Carly Simon and the Pointer Sisters, to give you an idea. And he's collaborated also with 3 of his Beatles bandmates, so it's a rather interesting way of going about it. The self-titled album reached number 2 on the Billboard 200 album charts and went platinum, so you know that it was really loved in its time. And it sounds really good here, and the music actually will get your feet tapping. But Goodnight Vienna, I think, is really interesting because here he works with everyone from John Lennon to Elton John to Dr. John, Billy Preston, Robbie Robertson, and Harry Nilsson. So this, for those of you who are looking for at least one Ringo album for your collection, this might be the one for you. And this copy here sounds really solid, and the music is very interesting, even to the non-Ringo fanatic. So this was Wheeler's Vinyl Review. Hopefully it was good for you.